What's up, you guys? This is Jay Young 2 back with another video. And if you saw the title in this video, of course, we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. You know, there's been many people out there making videos on the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I kind of wanted to come at it in a different perspective. As we know, Karl Anthony Towns, I think his contract is due in 2024. And well, I feel like, you know, with the newfound success that the Timberwolves have, the Timberwolves probably now have saved their chances on not missing out future success simply due to the fact that, you know, the crazy part about this team is that nothing's really changed on their roster. You know, they have pretty much the same roster from last season. You know, they've have some kind of underrated guys as well on their team that's really stepped up in a big way. But the only thing that is really, of course, changed, as you all know, is this new coaching. And that is part of the fact that they have now Chris Finch, and I believe he was part of the Raptors and their organization for a long time as well. And they brought him here to the Timberwolves, and he's really transformed this Timberwolves team into one of the best teams offensively and defensively when you really look at it. This season, they ranked 7th in offensive rating and 12th in defensive rating. Compare that to last season, they were 25th in offensive rating last season and 28th in defensive rating last season. Those are pretty much the bottom of the league, and now they're pretty much in the midst of some of the best numbers statistically wise in the entire NBA. And like I said, a lot of that has to do to Chris Finch, and you know, he's really implemented this style of really no BS from his players. He expects a lot from them on each and every single night, each practice. He is not really playing around. You know, these are young guys on their team, so he's going to be a lot more harder on them compared to, if you want to say, older teams or more veteran-like players on their teams. But having him as his presence, and also having Patrick Beverley, who's also a really another great leader presence, especially, you know, he's still an effective defender as well. He's also helped them become one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. You know, that has really triggered success for the Timberwolves this season. And when you look at it from the perspective of how it's affected guys like D'Angelo Russell on the defensive end has stepped up really big this season. He's both good on the ball and off ball, and he's also, you know, he's the communicator on defense for the Timberwolves. He's constantly communicating with his teammates where to go and really making great plays overall on the defensive end, especially from seasons prior, because, you know, he's not really been known for his entire mid-career for being a really good defender. Even though he hasn't really been the greatest scorer this season, you know, he's not putting up the numbers that he's normally put up in the past, he's still been a really great presence as well as being a great playmaker for this Timberwolves team and really facilitating the offense in general. And so for D'Angelo Russell in this new system, he's definitely found success for the Timberwolves. And, you know, for a while people thought he was falling off, but he's really come back in a really big way. Another guy who's really stepped up in a big way, even though his numbers may not always show it, is Jarred Vanderbilt. Jarred Vanderbilt this season has been huge for the Timberwolves. I said his numbers on the offensive end don't show, but it's his impact and effort on the defensive end that does show, and his rebounding ability as well, especially offensively wise. He's definitely showed how good of a player he can be and just shown the hustle and grit that the Timberwolves really need on this team. You know, he's a great guy to have on your team. He's kind of like your modern day Dennis Rodman when you look at it. That's how good of an impact he's had on this Timberwolves team for them this season and really helping them reach new levels. Overall, just a great utility player on the Timberwolves team, and he's the perfect fit next to Karl Anthony Towns because, well, you know, he doesn't have to provide all the scoring. He doesn't need the ball in his hands to really be a great player. He's a great off-ball player who provides a lot of great benefits and perks on this Timberwolves team. And speaking of Karl Anthony Towns, well, Karl Anthony Towns is simply doing Karl Anthony Towns things. He's definitely become a better playmaker and definitely helping his teammates have great plays overall. When Karl Anthony Towns is really good, you can put him pretty much in the same category of players like other fellow big man Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. He's not as good as these guys in my opinion, but when he's at his best, he's definitely not far from being on their level. But what makes Karl Anthony Towns very different compared to Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic is that this guy is the best three-point shooting big in the entire league, and there's no question about it. I mean, the man is literally shooting 40% on 5 attempts from 3 in the entire NBA, and I believe he's the only big man to ever do that. So basically, we're saying that Karl Anthony Towns is the best three-point shooting big in NBA history. So that's putting him in some pretty untouched category so far. But you know, another guy who I have to talk about, as we all know, is pretty much going to be the cornerstone piece for the Timberwolves in their future and the success that they will have. And because, you know, Anthony Edwards is already averaging 21.3 points a game, and he's only 20 years old. But not only that, just look at him when he plays. It's really rare when you see guys come out this good so early on in their NBA careers. And not only that, but just his athleticism, his build. It's very different from other players who we've seen come up in the league over the past few years. For Edwards, he's this season a better playmaker. He's stepped up in that way. He's more efficient from the field. He's making a lot better decisions overall. Even though sometimes on the defensive end, he isn't really as engaged as he should be, he's still actually improved on that end as well. There's still things in his game that he's gonna have to work on, you know, because he's only 20 years old, but just basing off his potential already and what he's shown us, he's definitely going to be a guy that is going to be a special player one day in the NBA. Not only that, but just his determination and grit overall. He's, you know, wanted to play through injuries and all kind of things. You know, Karl Anthony Towns and him, they're really definitely developing great chemistry and growing together. And also, of course, D'Angelo Russell as well into that mix, because, well, these are the three guys who they are building around. But of course, Anthony Edwards, out of all these guys, is going to be the one that will definitely end up being a cornerstone piece, because, well, he's not even in the midst of his prime yet. He still has so much room to grow. He can create his own shot. He is a very athletic player, as we've seen. He has the potential to be an even better playmaker than he is. He is a great player on transition. There's many things in Anthony Edwards' game that we've seen that has shown that he can definitely be a player that one day will be a borderline MVP, or if not MVP level player. This team still have players like Jaden McDaniels, who's shown growth. Malik Beasley, who's an amazing asset off the bench and last night had an incredible game, as we all know. You have Jalen Noel, who's another great contributor for the Timberwolves. You have many great players on this team who definitely have added to the success of the Timberwolves. And not to mention, of course, I think the head piece of it all is the head coach and Chris Birch, who's definitely transformed this Timberwolves team compared to when they had Ron Saunders, who really wasn't as hard of a coach, who was pretty easygoing and didn't really hold his players as accountable. But he is doing that. My only thing is for the Timberwolves that they want to continue to build on their success from what happened last season. You know, when they won a really good game, they would be complacent and lose 3 games in a row. But now this season, they have a much better mindset, and it's definitely shown. Everyone is trying to contribute to their newfound success. Timberwolves also have a chance tonight, since 2004, to beat their franchise setting streak of 6 games to now 7. They beat the Orlando Magic tomorrow. And I believe that they will beat the Orlando Magic. And well, for the Timberwolves, this is really just the beginning. You know, this is the start of them building more success, and I believe, you know, they have the 7th seed, so they are definitely going to possibly right now be in the play-in tournament if they don't win more. But it's really good to see for once in a while that the Timberwolves have found success. And well, let's just hope and continue that they can build upon it for years to come. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos each and every single week. Have a great day. Peace. So with the Timberwolves' newfound success, do you believe though that Karl Anthony Towns will definitely end up staying again? Well, I think so. But we will see.